Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. With the upcoming rerun banners, a lot of you have been asking who you should summon and who's worth saving for. Well, in today's video, I'll answer all your questions and break down everything you need before spending your hard-earned resources. So, depending on your time zones, the new banners will be dropping on Wednesday or Thursday, featuring Lua and Tristan along with their signature pets. So let's go over each character, starting with Lua. Lua is a shock element front row knight DPS, and honestly she is one of the strongest, if not the strongest character in the game right now. Her ultimate at level 3 did a massive damage, hitting for 621% of her attack with a 32 seconds cooldown. But what really makes her insane is her shock effect. When applied, enemies take 5% extra damage from all sources of damage for 6 seconds. This makes her not only a powerhouse carry on her own, but also a fantastic support for shock teams. And other units in her teams can benefit from this additional damage as well. But that's not all. Her skill is on 6 seconds cooldown and hits for 204% of her own attack by also applying shock. This one lasts 3 seconds though. On top of that, she gets a 44% defense boost for 3 seconds, making her even tankier while dishing out damage. But what really pushes Lua over the top are her passives. Her first passive makes her deal an extra hit equal to 67.5% of her own attack every time she lands an attack on an enemy. This adds up over time, making her damage output even more insane. Now this is where things get crazy. In Lost Sword, you might think this effect only applies once when using a skill or ultimate, or even when she hits an enemy with her basic attack. It adds one additional hit, but this is not how it works. These extra hits are triggered based on how many times the enemy gets hit. Since Lua attacks at such a rapid pace, it's hard to keep track of how often this effect actually applies. What makes it even crazier is that also factors in additional targets from weapons and gears, other passive effects, and even Ran's guard. Essentially, every instance of damage contributes to triggering extra hits. To give you an example of how powerful is this, let's simply break it down. Okay, now let's imagine you have 1k attack. No crits, no additional buffs, debuffs, and effects, so on. Just raw numbers. So if you use her ultimate against a single target, you'd expect 62,000 damage. But here's the thing, Lua's ultimate hits at least 10 times. From this test alone, she hits about 16 times or more. But for the sake of simplicity, we'll assume it's only 10 hits. Since her passive triggers every time she lands a hit, that means each of those 10 hits applies an extra 6,750 damage. That adds up to a 67,000 extra damage, which is actually more damage than her ultimate multipliers. And that's before adding buffs, attack speed increases, extra targets, or the shock effect, additional damage bonus, multiple targets, rain effect, and so on. So once you factor all of that in, her damage skyrockets. Then we have her second passive, which is what makes her both insanely strong and a little situational. The first effect, her basic attacks hit an extra target, making her better at handling groups of enemies and increasing her AoE range. For the second effect, if the weather is rainy, she gains a massive 44% attack increase. Now here's the catch, the rain effect isn't super common in early or mid game. You will mainly benefit from it against the Kraken boss in some stages like 34 to 35 if I remember correctly, or those pirate guys, and sometimes in certain towers. However, based on the latest patch notes, they're making the Wednesday's boss raid have the rain weather effect, which means she's about to get absolutely insane there. Now let's talk quickly about Lua's pet. While we don't have concrete numbers yet, what do we know is that it inflicts shock on multiple enemies, and like her skill, shock makes enemies take extra damage, which is really huge for shock based teams. This makes Lua's pet a solid option for her and Ran, since they both rely on shock effects to maximize their damage. That being said, it's not a must pull, so if you're tight on resources, you can skip it. But if you're running a shock team, this is definitely a strong pick. Next up, let's talk about Tristan, the nature element archer who plays a back row DPS role. Unlike Lua, who excels in fast-paced, multiple hit damage, Tristan specializes in crowd control and AoE burst damage. So let's go over her kit. Her ultimate at level 3 did a whopping 585% of her attack as damage, with a 38 seconds cooldown. But what makes her really strong is the rooted effect. This completely immobilizes all enemies for 4 seconds, preventing them from taking any actions. This is a huge advantage in hard hitting bosses or mobs, and also in PvP fights, as it stops enemies from attacking, dodging, or using skills, letting your team freely deal damage. Tristan has 2 active skills, in both deal damage and apply AoE rooted effect for 1.5 seconds with a 14 and 20 seconds cooldown. So in total, she can keep enemies rooted for up to 7 seconds, which is insane for locking down dangerous targets. Tristan's passive abilities increases her range attack by 56% and crit rate by 5%. Just like Lua's, Tristan's pet apply a powerful rooted effect to all enemies for a number of seconds. While it's not a must pull, it can be a great tool for hard stages where you need an extra CC to stall enemies or lock down bosses. Outside of the situations, you probably won't use it often. But if you like running a rooted CC heavy team with Vivian, it's definitely worth considering. So now that we've gone over Lua and Tristan, the big question is, who should you summon for? Let's start with Lua. Like I said before, she's an insane damage dealer, but she has some drawbacks you should consider before pulling. Her biggest weakness, she's really squishy. In being a front row unit, she's often the first one to take damage. That's already a problem, but it gets worse in late game content because most of enemies and bosses are dark element, meaning she takes even more damage and you'll find yourself struggling to keep her alive most of the time. You can try to counter this by running a tank like Galahad, but here's the issue. Lua doesn't benefit from her buffs and you sacrifice the attack bonus from the formation by putting Ran in the middle, where you'll be forced to drop Ran, who is Lua the best synergy partner, because Lisa is the better choice there. Another option is to run Isolda instead of Galahad, which lets you keep Ran in the team. This is Lua's strongest setup, but due to the lack of rain weather and the frost enemies in most of content, this team has lower DPS overall compared to the previous one. So where does Lua stand right now? She's in a bit of tough spot until we get a melee or shock damage booster version of Galahad or a mid-roll shock carry. Right now Lisa has taken her place in most of team comps, but this doesn't mean she's bad. She's far from it. If you have her at max dupe, she's still unmatched in raw damage and also boosts your teams in shock carries as well. And since the new endgame content requires 2 teams, you can always run Lua as you carry for your second team. Now for Tristan, she's the second best CC unit in the game, right behind Merlin. In most raid bosses that have annoying mechanics like high burst damage or CC effects, Tristan becomes a must-have, and when she's paired with Merlin, they make one of the best teams for handling difficult fights. Her damage is low, but her CC is godly. So what's the best pull strategy here? For Tristan, I strongly recommend getting at least 1 copy of her. Her CC utility is invaluable, especially for late game and raid bosses, and she's a must pull if you want to play Vivian. And for Lua, if you like her playstyle, go for more copies, but if you're unsure, just grab 1 copy in her card since you'll need it a lot. And if you're low on resources, I'd actually prioritize Rhea's banner right now instead. Supports are harder to power creep than DPS units, so getting Rhea's dupes would provide more long-term value. You can always get Lua later from off banners. A good stopping point for Lua is tier 3, but if you want to fully invest in her, tier 5 is the way to go for awakening her. As for pets, I'd say skip both. Hysteria is available right now and it's way better, and since high transcendence pets are always better, the smarter choice is to get as many copies you can right now. And also don't forget to save some diamonds for Goblin Mommy and Tiamat, they're around the corner. That's it for the video guys. If you have more questions, drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you find this guide helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thanks for watching guys, and see you in the next one. Bye.